Hello, what's up everybody? This is Pump Watercolor. It's 4 a.m. again. Yes, I'm starting to do a sketch in the morning time. As you can see, I have the basic sketch done, and I want to talk about how I sketch again. This time hopefully I will go more in detail. Maybe next time, maybe next week, I'll say I can show you how I start from beginning instead of start from where I have now. I did do some research about how to say some facial feature anatomy terms in English, so I'll try to explain. For this video, I think I'll focus on the eyes more, and I'll explain things, especially in eyes. So as you can see, I used some straight lines for me to find the location of the eyebrows, eyes, nose, and the center line of the face. That's how I sketched earlier, but we will erase that. I think we'll erase that for now to make it less obvious. Later we'll erase it fully. Okay, let's start with the order. Eyebrow. As I said, when you draw hair, either your hair or facial hair like beard or eyebrow, eyelashes, you're supposed to follow the direction of how the hair grows. That's how your pencil goes. So normally for eyebrow, it's growing on something called brow ridge, and brow ridge is the top edge of the like you have eye socket here, and on the top of the eye socket is the top ridge of the hole. Like there's a hole, you know, like if you see a skeleton, like your eyeball where the eye socket, it's called the socket, right? It's a hole. So the brow ridge is the top edge of the hole. And yeah, I'm using Adobe again. Can you see? Yeah. His brow ridge is here. Adobe doesn't have eyebrow, but if he has eyebrows, his eyebrows grows on top of here. Okay, and I said like the bottom area of the eyebrow is darker. It's because of this reason. That's where the brow ridge is. Again, follow the direction of how the brow grows. Normally the end of the brow is, the hair is lesser. Be mindful of the angle of the eyebrow. Like in this picture, his face is, his head is tilted, so there's an angle for everything for the eyebrow, right? It's not a flat one. Same as this eyebrow. Be mindful of the angle of it, the shape, and the overall thickness of it. And the length of it. There's so many things to consider when you draw and paint. And then, like after you're done with one eyebrow, look at them together. see if they look normal together. Okay, and then basically done with the eyebrow. Let's move on to the eye. So as we just said, the eye is located in a socket. And we have our top eyelid here, top eyelid and bottom eyelid. And inside of the eyelid is a ball, right? It's like you can't see the whole ball because it's covered up by the eyelids, so you see part of the eyes. Normally this line, like the top of the eyelid, is darker. Like there will be shadow casting here, right? Because it's 3D, it's not a flat surface. And then I finally figured out this thing I call the corner of the eye. It's called tear duct in English. That's my new vocabulary of the day. And normally for the tear duct, again, this really edge line is darker. And then there's normally a line here. Remember your eyeball, like this is a ball, right? Like I searched the white area of the eyeball, which is here. It's called, how to pronounce it? Sclera. Remember, it's not totally white, although it's called the white area of the eyeball, because it's a ball. Like you should, when you shade it, you should shade it like a ball, or it will be all flat. Okay. And here, the colorful part of the eyeball is called iris. I like this name, iris. And remember, inside of the iris, the color is not one shade, right? There's like different degree of shade inside of this colorful part of the eyeball. And it's not normally all like a perfect circle. It depends on the angle of the eye and which direction the person is looking at. And then we have the pupil. That's the only word I know before my research. The pupil is the darkest dark of the whole eye. And then there's usually a glint or a reflection, like the highlight part of the eye. That's the whitest white normally, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's all like it's a perfect white. It can be relatively whiter than other areas of the eyes. As we said, what's that called? Sclera is a ball. You shouldn't treat it as all white. So normally the shading, like this line is darker, and then there's gray, you know. Like there's a transition of the shading here. Mindful of the curve and shape of this line. The top of the bottom lid. The bottom lid is also a 3D. So there's a surface here actually. It's not a single line. According to the direction of the light, this part, the bottom lid, can either can either have highlight on it, or it can either go, can also go all dark. In this referral picture, it's all dark here, but at the top of the eyelid, there's some highlight here. Because the source of light in my referral picture, I think it's a candle light, and it's on the bottom of the face. That's why this area is darker, and the top of the eyelid has some highlight. But I say the opposite way. If the light source comes on the top of the head, normally this area will be dark, and this area will have a highlight. But anyways, my point is these structures are all 3D, top eyelid and bottom eyelid, and there's a surface. And remember, you have to draw that surface out. Don't treat it as a 2D flat surface. Okay? Again, I'm doing this for my study purpose. I'm preparing myself for my painting later. So I think today I'm going a little more in detail. I'm gonna erase most of it, unfortunately, but my memory will be in my head after I draw this. I'm just doing some basic eyelashes for fun. Remember, eyelashes have curves, and the distance between each one is different. Like, you don't want to draw eyelashes like this, right? That's like you see your kid, they may draw eyelashes like that, but it's not how it looks. Like try to divide them into groups. Like if you see false eyelashes, they have like it's not evenly displayed. Like there are groups of it, and if you ever put like, you know, there are, instead of a full false eyelash, they may create single ones, right? And then you put single ones, boom, 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 on the eye. So my point is, try to divide them into groups, and the direction of it will look different. Like the front might be this way, and bottom, the end of the eye will be this way, right? Middle will have a slight less angle, but still depends. Like, I think you should pay attention to the subject you are drawing, and there's no single rule for how the eyelash is supposed to look like. Depends on the subject you're trying to draw. Well, where am I? Okay. I try not to draw it too specifically, just well enough for me to understand the whole thing, because I'm gonna erase it later. And I try to draw it lightly. I'm not pressing down or put a lot of pressure on my each pencil mark, so I can erase better, because I'm gonna paint. My point is to paint, not to sketch. But if this is a pencil drawing, I would, like, there are many parts I would go even darker and put more pressure on it. Okay, let's move on to the side. Same thing, top of the eyelid. Is the darkest area. And it'll be shading, right? From the darkest line to darker shading to lighter shading. And then tear duct again. Be mindful of the shape of it, the angle of it. Like as I said, his eyes are like has a wider, bigger angle, but the other person, which I will draw later, have a smaller angle of the tear duct. Okay, and then the very corner is the darkest. There's some shading here, and then there's a line, which is darkest. Well, not the darkest, the second darkest. So darkest, middle ground, second darkest, something like that. Okay, and then the top of the eyelid. That's where his eye lashes goes. Again, the top lid, because of its structure, it's a 3D surface, not the 2D one. Maybe some highlight or shadowing, depends on the source of the light, okay? And be mindful of that. And then the shape of the, what's that called? Iris, yes. The colorful area of the line, not necessarily a ball, not necessarily a perfect circle. And it's not the same shading. Pupil, darkest dark in the eye. And then the highlight or glint of the eye. You can either, like when you paint, you can either leave it white and shade the area around it to make it pop out more, right? Or you can just later use the highlight white gel pen and poke on it. It makes a lot of difference once you get the pupil and the glint of the eye finished. Remember, most of the case, the size of two irises are same or similar, but there are different case scenarios, like different, like unique, under unique light source, they may not end up to be the same size. Again, bottom of the lid is a 3D surface. It's not flat, it's not a single line. There's some thickness to it. Shadows here. Okay, let's move on to the nose. Oh, before I move on to the nose, I will zoom out on my referral picture, and I'll just check everything I just drew as a whole, see if there's anything look weird to me. I'll fix it. Because once you zoom out, you see less in detail. You see more things as a whole. You see the big picture, and that's what you want. You want to go from detail, like from big picture to detail to big picture. Just try to go back and forth. And big picture is super important, because no matter how much detail you go to, like let's say the distance between my eyes are too close, or my eyes and eyebrows are too close to the hairline, like no matter how detailed it is, my face will be distorted, right? It will look weird. So we try to avoid that. Once we are sure about the basic layout, the big picture of the facial features, and then we go for detail. Okay, please don't do it the wrong order. Okay, I think I can go to the nose now. You know, sometimes I may work on the nose and then my eye will land on the referral picture at some other area, possibly, and then I may just jump to there and fix it. because you can sometimes you can, when you're not paying attention, you just catch a glimpse of something. Your eye may capture the mistake you weren't able to capture earlier when you were actually paying close attention working on it. It's just how it is. It's funny. Again, the nostril. Check its shape and size. Normally they are pretty much balanced on the same line. But you know, human's face is not all how to say that in English. I need to Google how to say that. Okay, it's not all symmetrical, right? So it all depends on the subject you're trying to do. Like I painted a lot of Jude Law. I know his face really well. His eyes are pretty much symmetrical, according to my experiences. But I did notice his nose is not perfectly symmetrical. I don't know if you ever noticed that. But I don't think symmetrical is the definition of perfection. Okay, another trick is the side of the nose. Like check, you can use a ruler or any pen, and then you can use the ruler, go to your referral picture right in front of you, and you measure the angle and the relationship between the side of the nose to the, what's that called, to the really corner of the eye, tear duct. So I'm gonna measure my picture real quick. And I see the side of the left nose should be, okay, make sure it's the same angle, right? Should be, it's an angle like this. And I see from my picture the side of the nose and this line we just talked about in the eyeball should be on the same line. Like you can draw some guidelines for yourself if your eyes are not able to capture it. And this one, I see the really side corner of the eye should be aligned with the side of this nose. Again, you can draw yourself another guideline. Oh, sorry. I didn't aim it right. You can draw a guideline for yourself so you can tell. Oh my god, I'm not good at it. I normally don't do this using a ruler. Like I normally can just draw my own line. Okay, that's like that. So now, once you know this location, you can just relax and sketch. Like you can see a clear line on this side of the face because it's under the shadow. But here it's under the light, so this line may not be as obvious as the other line. Okay. Once the guideline served its purpose, you can erase it. And then we all have this two lines. How to say these two lines in English? I never researched it. Be mindful of its angle. Again, it's 3D, right? It's not a single line. When you paint, you should be mindful of that. Okay, let's decide this shadow. Remember, there's darker area in the shadow and lighter area in the shadow. Okay, let's move on to the beard a little bit. Again, follow how the hair grows. Speed up a little bit. Okay, the mouth again. His mouths are closed, and where the two top lip and bottom lip meets, there's a line is formed, right? And the line is dark in this case. And remember, we naturally have lines on the lips, and it's a vertical line. It's not spread it out evenly. Again, follow the direction of the beard. The more line you do, the thicker it is, right? The darker it is. Just like to do this for fun. Okay. I'll just connect the hair with the beard now. Again, the direction how the hair grows. Standing up here. And it's all combed towards this direction. Like this. Right? And I think I'm not going to draw it in detail because I'm familiar with this hair. I painted twice already, so I'm just gonna do a basic. See, I'll pay attention to it later when I paint. Try to know the basic shape of it though, the shape and the range of it. Right, which parts are my hair? Something like that. Out here. Try to have a clear line, so later when you paint, you know, okay, that's the hairline. Try to see, like this line is, like there's a few lines. Try to eliminate that, so you don't confuse yourself for later. Something like that. And ear, again, if you can't see it by your eyes, use your ruler, any line, straight line, a straight thing, and measure, see the top of the ear and the bottom of the ear, where they should be. Like I can tell the bottom should go, yeah, around here. And the top of the ear is actually, it's a bit hidden by the hair. It should be around the eyebrow, or even higher than the eyebrow. Basically, when you sketch, you just try to compare the location of different things, like the relationship between different things with each other. Like lots of relationships, it's complicated. And the basic area of the beard should be here. Messy. There's still part of his ear here, but it's kind of blocked by the beard. So later when I paint, I'll just put a slight skin tone there. And then I'll paint the hair on top of it to cover it. Okay, and I'm gonna add some wrinkles and lines on the face. He has a frown. Remember, the line is not a line. It's also 3D. And wrinkles. This wrinkle is not so obvious on the forehead in this one. Try to make sure the edge of the beard. It's like this. I think I'll record to here. I'll skip the clothing because it's pretty much done. Just need to go more detail to make these lines more defined, and then that's it. But remember, once you are done with the basic sketching, check everything in detail again. Make sure it looks alright to you. If you want to paint a realistic painting, your sketch needs to achieve the likeness, right? So you can have a solid base to paint on. If your sketch is not looking at like the subject you're painting, your painting is not going to turn out to be alike. Like my sketch, I think, is done. And if you see my other demo for how I sketch, like I would do the cleaning up, like I said, I will erase the area where my hand rubbed around, with the pencil. It looks dirty. You don't have to, you can, because the background is gonna be gray anyway. The pencil mark wouldn't affect it. It's just a personal habit of mine. And as I said, I would like I already done the sketch for studying purpose. And next, when I paint, I will erase a lot of things I don't need, because I don't like to show pencil marks on my painting. So I'll at least erase the guideline and make some parts lighter. Like, it's dark enough for me to see it as I paint, but light enough so pencil mark wouldn't be shown on my sketch. It's my a personal habit. So you can do what you like. People have their own style and habit. I'm not saying pencil marks are bad. I'm just saying I don't like it. If you like it, you can keep it, And one thing about how I erase things, like I wouldn't worry too much on the shadow part because it's gonna be dark, and my watercolor will cover the pencil marks on the dark area. But like, let's say this part of the face, I would erase more because I will use relatively less paint on this side, right? Because it's a lighter area and I don't want my pencil mark to show. Like, I would intentionally even erase the eyes I just painted, I just sketched. Make it lighter. Make everything lighter. If you have that like that soft kind of eraser, like you can reshape it, right? I don't have it with me now. You just make it flat, and then you tap on it. You can make everything lighter. It's a good tool. But I don't have it. I should buy one. Make everything lighter on the side. The shape of the beard. Face. Your eraser actually, in some sense, is like a pen. Does that make sense? See, it's like a pen. I'm defining the shape by erasing part I don't want. Okay, now I think the face is paintable, and I'm not going to record more because it's already 1 hour, and I'm gonna work on the clothing, and then this sketch is ready to paint. So again, that's how I work. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment if you like it. I hope my explanation makes sense to you. Weird. Okay. Alright. Okay, everybody have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know when I'm going to post it, but thanks for watching. See you.